love this.
Okay. You say that there are factors that are looked at.
Yeah.
That probably the Mwananchi might not be aware about, and that they actually carry the day.
Yes.
In developed democracies, not that Kenya is not developed, those factors seemingly carry the day because it is a group of, clean people who sit around a table, probably robed in white robes, and they decide that so-and-so is a deputy president because of 1, 2, 3. Here in Kenya, as much as you more or less imagine that we still dissuade off the political aspect,
yes,
but it is a balance of power. If you probably look at President William Ruto now and his former deputy,
yes,
we are even told that there were issues when they were agreeing, and that the person who is the current deputy president should have been the
preferred,
the preferred heir. I mean, the preferred DP then. So what is the difference? Whether there are factors, whether there are, how feasible is it that they can work in a political context like Kenya, where the number of people that you can put in a basket, and now people are registering left, right, and center. We are asking people to go and register. That is really what carries the day. Ultimately is the vote and the money. So, what else beyond that?
Yeah, so let's go back to 1998 or thereabout, when President Moi finally did his last election win. And then from there onwards, there was nothing about what I call a fiat kind of choice and fiat kind of management of the deputy president's position. You remember at Kasarani, I believe you are older than me then as now, you must have seen President Moi tell the then Vice President George Saitoti, Bwana Saitoti, kama jina yako haiko. Because Saitoti was to be on the roll of the presidential candidates. Okay? And that then ushered in something new because Raila moved with Saitoti and Team Kalonzo and went to form NAC. Now from that day, that's around 2002 now, 2001, 2002.
Yes.
When the NAC coalition was formed, the arithmetic of politics in this country changed forever in terms of who becomes the vice president. It was no longer an appeasement, or not really an appeasement, it was no longer a token that the president would give to a particular community to bring them on board. It became a tool that then the president had to use to win an election. Because remember, in 2002, the person who was selected as the deputy president, the vice president then, was Kijana Wamalwa. Although, if you look at the infrastructure, then again, of the politics, Raila Odinga stood a higher ground above the vice president.
Yeah.
And that's why there was that making of a prime minister's position. Now, come to 2007, the same thing. The same thing. Because Kibaki went to election without a substantive deputy president. But he had to balance out after that. He had to bring in Kalonzo very fast to balance again the situation. But now 2013 moving forward, the constitution that you have in your hand tells you something different. That now you're not going to use this thing to balance out anything. Now we just have to use it to calculate. And then with the tightening of our election laws and our election procedures, we have shifted from an absolute rigging, and I believe the absolute rigging that happened in this country was in 2017. That was absolute rigging.
Okay.
We've moved from absolute rigging now to Ndu's son becoming a president of this country. Anybody who is born in this country today can become a president because the IEBC as is now is not something you will tinker with very easily. And if you do so, we have the courts, which will of course put a stop to your nonsense. So that one then tells the presidential candidates that you have to do your calculation. Now we are moving from theory to math. Do the math and then let's sit. But also with 2022 election, there's something else that has developed about the deputy president's position. That then we have to understand, how do we arrive at election of a deputy president as a presidential candidate so that we don't end up with a deputy president who is very easily impeachable. Okay? Now, those are some of the factors that we want to look at. And I've given a 7-point analysis of how we are going to look at this. And number one,
Before we get there.
Sorry.
Before we get there. You just mentioned that the deputy president's position, right?
Yes.
Before has been used to balance the equation, right? On how one wins the election. But one would say it is the same thing that happened even in 2022. You know, it is, I come from this region, I have the numbers. The other region has numbers, and I will give them the position